Well, hello everyone, and welcome to my 200 subscriber special. And I thought I'd do something a little bit different for this special sort of odd video. And to do that, we're going to take a little trip down memory lane. We're going to jump into the Additions version of Minecraft. But before we launch up, I thought I'd just discuss this guy. This is like one of the main reasons I play this game. I've told people before. Deadmau5 is a Canadian EDM DJ producer, and back in my early 20s when I was getting into DJing, he was a big influence. I loved his music. I still do. I still listen to his music now, and he was just such a guiding sort of member of the community when Minecraft was in its infancy. He was very much involved. He had his own server. And yeah, he was one of the main reasons I actually got into this game. I'd see him playing it and I'd be like, what is this ugly block game that looks like it's about 20 years old? And my curiosity got the better of me, and one day I just picked it up for PS3 and gave it a try, and I've never looked back really. Like, here we are today. And I thought I'd show you my first world that was originally on PS3. It started on PS3, and then when I eventually got a PS4 I converted it over because that was something that you could do. As you can see, it's still in survival mode. It's on hard. I think I've played it on hard most of the time, but it might have been on easy or normal to begin with when I was a noob, because I didn't really know what I was doing. Still don't really know what I'm doing, but yeah, so the Additions version of the game is quite different to the version we currently play, whether it be Java or Bedrock. I mean, it's quite similar to Java in a way. 4J Studios were responsible for this port, and it was on the Xbox 360 and the PS3 and a few other devices, like the Wii U, I think. And yeah, they did a really good job of getting this very close to the actual PC version of the game. Despite the limitations of the consoles of those days, they couldn't have as many mobs as you might have had on Java, and been able to do like zero ticking like you could on Java. But this was a sort of 95% accurate port of the original Java game onto console. So hats off to 4J. They did such an amazing job. So as you can see, my building skills weren't really that good when I started out. This is my spawn building, which I developed towards the sort of latter time on this world, because I kind of got a bit lonely after playing in this world for about 4 years all by myself. I finally decided to take the leap and try and bring some other people into this world, meet some other Minecraft players that enjoyed this game, as much as I did. And so I put a few signs up and tried to make people feel welcome, put a few rules in, just so that hopefully nothing would go wrong. But the way it worked on this game, you could actually save it whenever you wanted, so you could turn off the autosave. And so if anything went wrong, then you could always just not save and then just revert back to your previous save game. But anyway, so yeah, there was not much to see in here. I meant to fill out a book with the history of the world and whatnot, but never got around to that. And apparently there's a creeper hole there that I didn't manage to finish filling in either. So yeah, you spawn in a desert, and the reason why I liked this world, I stuck with this one, because it had a couple of villages that were quite close together, not far from spawn. So I wanted to make use of villages and try and learn them. And here is my triple beacon. The wither, it's difficult, but it's not undoable in this version of the game. And I built this sort of combat arena around this triple beacon here, and the triple beacon, I managed to gather most of the resources for that without farms, which was pretty impressive. Like, the iron was a grind because the majority of it is iron. But so yeah, this is the North Village, and I'll show you around as we go. But the North Village is so named because it only really mainly had carrots growing in it. And here's the barn that I built for my wife, because she loves her horses, and so I thought I'd build her a barn to try and encourage her to play with me, but she wasn't interested really. But yeah, this is the village of Carrot, because they mostly grow carrots here, apart from those odd clumps of wheat there. I don't know, there must have been a farmer that had some wheat seeds at some point, but the majority of it was all here, and it was all carrots. Like, there was not a single potato in sight. So I named this village Carrot, and yeah, as you can see, there's just carrots everywhere. Some of this village I did build myself. You know, there was other buildings further up in the village, so I built a library. I built, you know, a blacksmith. I just copied the existing buildings block for block and just moved them down, and extended the village out a little bit towards the other village. And yeah, there's nothing in any of these chests now because I had a massive clear out, and actually finally got organised. After about 3 years in this world, I finally got organised with my storage. But I used to live out of these houses down here. Like, it was just chests everywhere, no organisation or anything like that. It was just junk everywhere. There are a few villagers still left alive, kicking about. I've blocked a few of them in for their own good, because towards the latter part of this world we actually had the village and pillage update, hence why I built this wall around the village to keep the pillagers out, because pillagers on this edition aren't a joke. They are actually quite scary. And here is my giant pineapple, because, you know, I love pineapples. It's my favourite fruit, and I thought this is my flex in this world. A giant pineapple made out of gold blocks and emerald blocks, and then a bit of yellow carpet to texturise it. But yeah, pretty pleased with my pineapple, if I do say so myself. Right, so the two villages, I decided to build these big massive towers close together to each other. Don't ask me why. I mean, what's the first thing you built when you first started playing Minecraft? I guarantee you it was probably a tower of some description, probably. But yeah, I decided to just build a couple of big towers and see what was up with that. And here's my enchanting setup, where I did most of my enchanting, and there's some lapis. But yeah, there's not actually that much to see in doing these, because I was pretty clueless when it came to building, and even more clueless when it came to doing interiors, and this is about as good as it gets, I'm afraid. There's some armour stands with some of my first sets of armour, and some bookshelves in the corner. That's it. There's a bed there, there's nothing there, and there's another portal up here, which I don't really ever use. Yeah, never really used that one. And up the top here, we get some good views. This is where I first learned to use my elytra. When I first got the elytra, I didn't have a clue how to use it. I just went splat into the ground and died, and I thought, well, this is dumb, and I just put it away in a chest and didn't touch it for like over a year. I just was like, what is this stupid thing? It doesn't work. But you know, how little did I know what you could really do with an elytra. But yeah, this village was almost doubled in size by me, and then over to the south here there's a natural desert temple as well, which was nice, because, you know, these worlds were quite small, so to have all these things in one space was actually really good. And there was another reason why I stuck with this world as well, and I'll show you that when we get to it. So this village here is the village of Potato, and it's so cool because all they grew in this village when I got here was potatoes and a bit of wheat, but there was no carrots in sight anywhere. So, and I also added some beetroot when I eventually got some beetroot seeds in a later update. But I added a few bits of wheat in just to spice things up because I wanted some bread. But this village was just nothing but potatoes, and the other one was just full of carrots. So yeah, this is potato, and the other one's carrot. And yeah, I used to live out of this one as well, and Is there anything in here? Oh my god, there's carrots in potato. Yep, don't tell anyone. That's illegal. I don't know why they're in there. But, yeah. And, yeah. I eventually found some pumpkins. It took me a little while to find the pumpkin seeds because there was no natural pumpkins growing anywhere in this tiny little world. So when I did find some pumpkin seeds in an abandoned mineshaft, I was very happy, and that's a big creeper hole. And yeah, eventually I also found some melons. So I planted up a nice little melon patch as well. Because why not? You've got to have all the crops, haven't you? And then there's another tower. And I did even less with this tower. I don't think there's anything on the inside of that one. And I have no idea where that zombie noise came from. But towards the south, at the very, very south of the world, I built a castle. Because that's probably one of the other first things you build in Minecraft is a castle. So this is my attempt, my first attempt at a Minecraft castle with my rubbish attempts at a Union Jack. And this is where I put my dragon eggs. Plural dragon eggs. Yes, I have more than one. And you're obviously wondering why I have more than one dragon egg. Is that a thing in console edition? Well, it kind of is. But what I'll do, I'll explain that in another time in another part of this video, because we've got so many other things to go see and do in this before we talk about the end and why there's 2 dragon eggs in this world. And yeah, like I say, there's just no interior at all in this castle because I just didn't have a clue about interiors. Like, just didn't have a clue. But what I did do though in this castle was build this room down here. Also, we're on a port of Java, so it's called steak. It's not called cooked beef. It's called steak, even though it's raw beef. And this is my map room. And yeah, it's a lot of maps. So as you can see, the very, very centre of the world where we are, you can sort of see some faint lines around the middle map where it was just that map to begin with, and then when I ported it over to PS4, I had the option to make it into a large world, so I did. So that a large world is 25 maps, so it's 5 by 5, whereas a medium one is 3 by 3, and a classic size world is just a puny 864 blocks by 864 blocks. So down in the south here, there was a tiny, tiny little microscopic mushroom island. It was the only one in this entire world. So I took some of those blocks and made my own little mycelium mushroom island not far from where we are now. Obviously mob spawn because it's not an actual proper mushroom island, but the entire south of this world I explored before the aquatic update. So there's not a lot, to be honest. In the southern half of this world there was not a lot. I think there was a village over to the east on that large landmass there with desert and sort of plains and stuff and a bit of jungle. And then there was also a village down in the southwest down there somewhere. Let's see if I can home in on it. I mean, it's really hard to see. It's somewhere down there in that landmass. There's a village as well that I sort of made my own. And again, we'll cover that another time because there's a lot to see and do in this world. And then, also up the top here, in the sort of middle, right over on the very edge of the world, that little purple square there, I don't know why it's purple because there's no purple there. That is my witch farm, which I was really happy with. Like, I couldn't believe I pulled something like that off. But that we'll get to that later. But the north of the world, I saved that for future updates. And so when we did get the aquatic update, I sort of explored the eastern half of the north here and found, you know, kelp and coral and all that good stuff that you find in the aquatic update. And then the top left of the world, the northwest, I saved that for the village and pillage update. So I got quite a lot of use out of this world, and yeah, I was lucky enough to find a raid tower up there, just the one, but that was all I needed. But again, I'll probably cover that in another video, because like I say, there's so much to cover in this world. Oh, and there's even a couple of woodland mansions up the north there as well, which provided quite a fun challenge. But we'll be mainly focusing on the middle part of the world here for today. And oh, there's no minecart. Well, I guess we'll just have to fly. So yeah, like I say, it took me a long time to work out the elytra, but watching people on YouTube, specifically Hermitcraft, watching them fly around, and I was like, how are they doing this? You know, they've got rockets and they're flying, and I wanted to do that. And so yeah, I sort of worked out how to use the elytra and never looked back really. This is under my first tower that I showed you, where the enchanting setup is up there, and it actually is smack bang above the Stronghold, believe it or not. And for obvious reasons, there's only one Stronghold in a console world because they're so small. So this was my one and only Stronghold, and I seem to be a bit lost. Oh, there we go. That dirt block there, that tells me that it's down this way. Now, it took me the longest time to find my portal room, because this corridor here, this entire section here, was not connected. I don't know what had happened with the generation of the world, but this was all not connected to the rest of the structure. So I was searching around it for literal days, and then just mining, and I found the portal room eventually. So I tidied it all up, and yes, that is a pig in a spawner there. That's the silverfish spawner, but for some reason spawners in this version of the game, maybe it's just the silverfish spawners, they have a pig spinning around in there. So I don't know if that's a thing in with the skeleton and the zombie spawners. I don't think it was, but anyway, let's hop into the end. Wow, that's loud. And it lets you know as well on the screen that you've entered the end, in case you were wondering where you were. The sky looks really different in the end on console. Like there's lots of like fuzzy haziness around the island, and the end is not infinite in this version of the game, not by a long shot. If you tried to fly off this island, you will just smash into an invisible wall and probably fall into the void, and you'll probably be very angry. Also, in the console edition version, you could only ever get 4 end island portals. No matter how many times you killed the dragon, there was only 4. And to be honest, you know, half the time there was nothing there. It would lead you just to an island that just had some enderman and some chorus fruit plants, and that was it. Luckily in this world there was 2 islands that did have end islands, so I was able to get shulkers and all the other stuff that you would find in those, as well as one that had a boat, like a ship with an elytra. So that's how I got my elytra. There was one, luckily. I'm not sure which one this is. Let's just jump through. Whoa, I thought I was going to fall into the void then. And this is not one with a city. So you see what I mean? There's just lots of endermen, lots of chorus plants, and nothing else. And it is a finite island. You cannot just fly off across the void here, because, like I say, you'll just smash into an invisible wall and die. So yeah, that was a big disappointment when we got the end update. And I'm watching people on Hermitcraft, and they're flying across all these islands and across the void and finding city after city, and I was stuck here with this, and which was a little bit heartbreaking, really, to be honest. But at least on Bedrock we've got infinite ends, so that's a good thing. And oh yeah, and whenever you went through the fountain, it would always bring up the end title screen. So now that we're back in the overworld, I thought I'd show you one of my first big projects that I did in this world that I'm really proud of, and that is my Guardian Farm. So Guardian Farms work completely differently on Java and Console Edition to the way that we're used to on Bedrock. and of course the wandering trader turns up wherever you are, and he's got pretty much just rubbish, yeah. But again, you know, he didn't used to be around in this world until only recently, so he was only added in Village and Pillage, and the llamas don't seem to be too upset with me. Oh, no, they are. Let's just get rid of them. So yeah, this was a humongous undertaking, as you can imagine, draining this entire thing out from top to bottom, and then just building this giant tank to spawn the guardians in the middle there. We'll take a closer look at that in a second. But yeah, this entire ocean monument drained out with only a handful of sponges. I only had a couple of stacks of sponges from the temples that I did find, or monuments rather they are. So this is how it works. So the guardians spawn in, and they just literally just drift down without a target. They will literally just drift down, and they will plop through these fence gates, the billion fence gates down here, and then they're at the mercy of the water streams. They can try and fight against the current, but they're doomed basically. They're eventually they're going to fall into the lava in the middle. So this is not a farm where you would hit them with a sword with looting 3, or, you know, there's no such thing as trident killers in this version of the game. It's just sheer, just kill them in lava blades and get the mob drops that way. And it relied on sheer volume of mobs, because for some reason the spawning for the mobs on this version of the game is really good. It's not as insane as Java, but it's much better than Bedrock, it seems. And so there's the lava blade, and they'd all die, and they'd all eventually land on the hoppers there, and that would collect all the drops. And yes, it's a lot of hoppers, I know, I realise that, but it was totally worth it, because as you can see, you know, there's drops for days in here, and I don't even know, I've emptied this thing out so many times and crafted so many sea lanterns and prismarine bricks and God knows what else, and yeah, it's just it just makes so much stuff for, considering we're on console edition. It's really surprising how good this farm is, and how good other mob farms are as well, for that matter. It's not just this Guardian farm. I built quite a lot of other mob farms that I was inspired to build from watching like Hermitcraft. So yeah, I could just sit here and watch these Guardians just doing this all day. Basically, it's quite fun. Like I say, they try and fight it. They jump around the hole for a little while, but it's inevitable. Also, you'll notice I have the music on when I'm playing on this version of the game. I never turned it off, because it was, like I say, for 4 years I played this world solo, and it was just me and the Minecraft soundtrack basically. That was my only companion. Also, I just wanted to quickly show you the inside of the ocean monument. I didn't do an awful lot with it, but it is all drained out. I left the gold there, and it's another place where you can sit and watch the Guardians as they just plop down to their doom. Plop, and another one. Ready? Plop. Yeah, they'll occasionally try and attack a squid that spawns in there with them, but apart from that, they'll just sit there. If they're not doing anything, they'll just drift down. And I keep doing that. I keep going to crouch and dropping my item instead, because the controls are weird. Yeah, the controls are weird on this version a little bit, but also it's weird getting used to the how small things seem to be on your hotbar, and then there's like the text as well. It's just weird. It's just a bit of a strange layout than what I'm used to now. So yeah, the Guardian Farm, one of my first big projects, and like I say, it was a humongous undertaking, and I'm super proud of it. Like, to do this, you know, on your own in survival, without much of a clue what you're doing really. All I know is I needed a load of sand and section it off, and then get a load of sponges and dry it out bit by bit. It was painstaking, but this up here was my attempt at an updated Village and Pillage iron farm, where you just needed the 3 villagers and then a zombie to scare them. but for some reason it didn't really work. Iron farms just in general are just broken on this version of the game now. They used to work before Village and Pillage, and then they stopped working, and yeah, I could never work out how to get this thing to actually produce iron golems. So, bit of a shame really, but I've already got enough iron in this world. I don't need more. So what we're going to do, we're going to fly back now, and as you can see, I built a lot of land bridges because before I worked out how to use the elytra properly, walking and riding around was my only hope of getting about. And here you can see the sort of rough edges from where the original world was expanded. It just sort of left like a line where new terrain had generated. I think there was some sort of option where you could change that, but I didn't manage to do it when I was changing over, and I can't go back now. So, but yeah, just flying about. We're still on the original size world, I think. Are we? Hang on, let's keep going. We'll quickly find out. Yeah, there we go. So there's like the stripe of just nothingness where the old world ends and the new world begins along here. But what I did, I actually started terraforming it so that, you know, from this point onwards, this swamp, I actually terraformed it all to sort of join it all up. So I think I did a pretty convincing job here of making it all sort of look natural and blended all the way along to this corner here. Yeah, to there, and then along there. So I never got around to finishing all of it though, because you know, ain't nobody got time for that. So what we're going to do, we're going to fly back now to the main villages, and then I think we're probably going to hop into the Nether. No, actually, I completely forgot to show you my storage building, because towards the latter part of this world, well, maybe, well, it was definitely over halfway, I decided I needed to get organised, and so I built this ginormous house thing. One thing I did do that I shouldn't have done though is, with hindsight, this was a bad idea. Putting a villager breeder underneath this house was not a good idea, because A, you can always hear them, they're so loud, and B, any workstations you put down up there, they would try and link to, and it was really annoying. And I don't know why, like, villagers on this version, they would be okay up to a certain point, and then sometimes they would just forget their trades, and you'd go down to a librarian that you knew had mending and that you traded with, and he would be offering you like flame instead or something, and I'm like, what? So yeah, the villagers were a little bit iffy in this version. Whether that was before Village and Pillage messed them up or after, I don't know. But now check this out, right? So a 3x3 piston door. Look at how quick that is as well on this version of the game. Obviously, you know, I followed a tutorial for that, but look, it's so quick because it uses the Java redstone mechanics, and it's like boom, 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 and it's done. Boom, boom, boom. Yeah. So it's much faster than Bedrock. Oh, I've done it again. I keep dropping things. Like I got a shift and I keep dropping them instead. So it is night time, so we'll shut that door. And I think we'll skip the night because I don't want to hear those villagers like jiggling about in their beds. They don't sit still in their beds. They sort of shake, like there's something wrong with them. But so we'll skip the night. But anyway, as you can see, I'm sort of organised, which might surprise some of you. Having played with me in Bedrock for a little while, you know, I wasn't the most organised person, but that's because I had been the most organised person in this world, and I realise you don't need to be super organised in Minecraft. If you remember where things are, doesn't matter if it's, you know, all over the shop. Not really. A couple of potions. Ah, gold. Oh, I want to grab some of this gold quickly and show you something. that some of you will be aware of if you played this version of the game. Some of you may not. Also, tridents. On Java, they're like really super hard and rare to get, but that's not the case on this one. I didn't even go out my way to get those tridents. Like, they were just drowned that got in my way because you know, don't ask me why, but tridents are really common in this version of the game. So yeah, I was actually fairly organised, and as you see, I got rockets for days, like rockets up the wazoo, because I had a really good, gunpowder farm. I'll take some of them just because we might need them for the tour. Yeah, I've got a really good gunpowder farm, like really nice and reliable, and but it's not the sort of gunpowder farm you might expect. I'll give you a clue. So yeah, it produces like tons and tons of gunpowder, but it also produces tons and tons of redstone as well. So you could probably guess what that is, but I'll show you later on in the tour what exactly that is. But yeah, I've got food farms, I've got like pumpkin and melon farms somewhere else as well, and oh yeah, and sweet berries as well. I managed to find a little patch of sweet berries up in one of the northern maps that weren't explored before 1.14. Yeah, 1.14. There is no nether update in this world. And yeah, there's the raw beef, which turns into cooked steak, because reasons. But what I'm looking for is some apples. Where are my apples? Also, yeah, I don't eat golden carrots in this world. I ate steak because that's all I could afford. I'm not a goat in this world, okay? Forgive me. Right, but I can show you this though. Oh yeah, also the crafting interface and UI is completely different to what you're used to. It's like you sort of scroll through all these like different options, and so there's like blocks here and yeah, more blocks, workstations, which also included every type of campfire variant for some reason, because reasons. Any sort of storage box, beds, fences. Yeah, it sort of made sense at the time, but I don't know. It did the job, basically. It got the job done. Sometimes I would be looking for days to find whatever I was looking for, but here we go. Yes, this is a craftable recipe in this version of the game. You can make yourself a notch apple, just because why not, you know? Let's make another one, because why not? I haven't got enough gold for any more, but... So yeah, I just made myself three god apples there. Shall I eat one? I think I've eaten one before in this world, so I won't get an achievement for it, because... But why not, you know? How about them apples? Yeah. So yeah, you could just make your own god apples in this version of the game for some reason, which made PvP quite interesting, I can imagine, but I wouldn't know because I never really engaged in that. Oh, and I've done it again. Yeah, never really had much PvP in this world, because literally I can count on one hand the number of people that have actually been in this world besides me. Like literally 4 or 5 people. So yeah. But anyway, there's more storage upstairs. There's ice from my ice farm, and there's all the prismarine and junk from my guardian farm. I've got like literally 2 double chests of sea lanterns. I don't know what I'd do with them all, but I've got them in case I need them. Also slime. I have a problem with slime. I've got way too much of that, thanks to the slime farm, as you can see. And there's even a double chest here, the staff. Yeah, again, you build these farms in like console/Java, and you use them a few times and you get way more resources than you're ever going to need, and you don't know what to do with them. Same with the kelp. I've got way too much kelp. I'm never going to need to smelt that much in my life, or build with it for that matter, but you know, it's there if I need it. Right, and upstairs we've got some more bulk storage, which is just like deep storage for like... I never threw anything away. Like, everything that I got, I would keep for some reason. Don't ask me why. And bamboo. This world had no natural bamboo whatsoever. But when I expanded the world and we got the update with the bamboo, I managed to find a jungle. And if you fish in a jungle, there's a very small chance that you could fish out a piece of bamboo. All you need is one. So one night I set up an AFK fisher in a jungle, and by the next morning I had 3 pieces of bamboo out of about 5 double chests. 3 pieces of bamboo. But that was all you need, you know. And from that I've made all this scaffolding, and you could turn it into sticks, I think, if you were mad, but I've got a farm for sticks. Jesus Christ, the effects from this god apple is still going on. I've still got resistance and fire resistance. So yeah, this was, you know, one of my better builds, I think. This building, it's pretty big. I know, like, a lot of people are probably like reeling in horror at the blocks I built it out of, but hey, you know, I wanted to build it out of purple and end stone, okay? Even though they're like some of the most brittle blocks in the game, and some people don't like the look of them, but you know. So the nether. This is my nether hub. The nether in this version of the game was fairly terrifying because it was actually scary. And yeah, I could get lost for days in this nether. But again, because of the finite nature of the worlds in Console Edition, the nether was also finite. And when we get to the edge of the nether, you'll see exactly what they did to make it finite, which, you know, it sort of worked. But my original world, you know, it was very small. It was one map. So the walls around it were there, and then when I enlarged it, the walls were still there. And there is actually an option in this version of the game to reset. Oh crap, didn't mean to do that. You can actually reset your nether from within, like, the options, which is crazy useful. But yeah, here we go. Here's this sort of weird janky bedrock wall, and obviously the floor and the ceiling has got bedrock. So you're basically in this giant hell bedrock cube. Basically, that's how the only way I could describe it, really. There's another edge, and before you know, really getting used to flying around in the nether on bedrock, I would be terrified to be doing this right now. I would not be flying around in the nether, but I feel confident enough to do it nowadays. But before, I would never do it. So as you can see, you know, it's not a pretty place. There's a lot of fire everywhere. Fire and brimstone and ghasts, and the ghasts on this version of the game are absolutely horrendous. As you can see, like, just from building this structure here to keep me safe, this tunnel, look at all the ghast fireballs that have hit this place, because they're a nightmare. They're an absolute nightmare. They see you from like Jupiter away, and then they start yeeting fireballs at you at like double speed. Oh no. They are relentless in this version of the game. I really don't want to be getting into a fight with this guy, but oh my god. Even, like, you know, I'm not a pro, I'm not even a semi-pro, but I should be dealing with this guy better than I am dealing with him. But also the bow is slightly different on this version of the game. It doesn't go as high. I've got lots of excuses. I can keep up the excuses for days, but yeah, they're just horrendous, these things on Console Edition. Don't ask me why. Ghasts are evil. I'm surprised that one over there hasn't started firing at me as well. So we're going to make a swift exit. I don't want to be dealing with any more ghasts. But yeah, before, when I was just out exploring in the nether, if you heard a ghast, you didn't look you just ran. You ran for your life. You didn't look back. You just run. So this is the way. Oh, hang on. Let's just quickly show you one other little slight difference in this game, which I didn't really understand why they changed it. But so you know, like baby slimes can't actually hurt you in either version of the game, but baby magma cubes can't actually hurt you in this version of the game. Yeah, I don't know why that is, but magma cubes, they don't move very fast either. They don't jump very far. Like, they only jump literally like one block at a time in this version of the game. So magma cubes are really easy to do. Oh, and I've done it again. Magma cubes are like really easy, whereas the ghast are much worse, I think. So, but anyway, we'll leave the nether for now. Oh, and it's night time, and there's going to be a lot of mobs around me because, like I say, the mob spawning on this version of the game is different, shall we say? That, you know, and you can still spam attack. They never implemented the combat update into this version of the game. You used to be able to block with your sword as well before they added shields. But let's just quickly skip the night because, like I say, the mob spawning is a bit more lively on this version of the game, shall we say. And here it is, the witch farm that's over on the far western side of this world. And this was perfectly placed because there was a little bit of land around it, not much. And here's the world's edge. This is just the invisible wall that you just cannot get past. But yeah, it was perfectly placed because it's still in the swamp biome, which is perfect. So the witches will spawn in it still. You can tell that from the scummy swamp water that it's in, and there wasn't much land around it, so I didn't have to dig too much out to be able to make this a very efficient farm. So later on down the line I put a pumpkin and melon farm on the top here as well, and to be honest, it's made far too many pumpkins and melons than I'll ever need. So I've done it again. Now, I tried to light up the area underneath here to stop the drown spawning, but they still seem to spawn regardless of light level, so I don't know what to do there. But as you can see, yeah, there was not a lot to dig out. There was a few islands, made light work of them. That mountain over there, I chopped off the side of that. So what we're going to do, we're just going to get a bit of a distance away from, yeah. Like I say, I've got so many sea lanterns, I don't know what to do with them all. So this is how this farm works, right? This is Ilmango's witch farm. So it's got like shifting floors, and they alternate between like a solid block and a soul sand block, because the soul sand block isn't quite a full block. So the witches spawn in, they can't move anywhere because of all the rows of trapdoors there. And then the pistons sort of shunt back and forth on a timer, and the witches glitch through when they come across the full block next to the soul sand block, which isn't quite a full block, and then they fall through. And they sort of glitch through each floor, one after the other, and then they splat down below, and I get the drops. So again, it's not a farm that uses manual auto-clicking manual or anything like that. It's just basically just sheer volume again. So yeah, the timer's a bit slow, but that's what it was always set to. That Ilmango set it to. Let's just quickly put my my stuff back on. There we go. I'll show you the redstone up a little bit closer because it is pretty clever. And to be honest, yeah, it worked almost exactly the same from Java to this version of the game. So no witches are going to spawn in while I'm this close, but it's basically just a load of observers linked up to pistons, and like the observer above detects the block being moved in front of it from the clock, and then it sort of shuffles them along in a sequence with the observers. So yeah, the redstone is pretty similar to Java. I think it's even got quasi connectivity in this version of the game. It doesn't. It never had zero ticking, and it doesn't have block spitting, I don't think. But it does have quasi. So yeah, there's the clock up the top there. It's just, you know, your average sort of EFO hopper clock, nothing special. But at the time when I built this farm, this was cutting edge to me. This was like I didn't even know what I was doing. I was just following the tutorial, and then, you know, it works, and I still am amazed to this day that it still works. So and yeah, there's a salmon. You only get one size of salmon in this version of the game, unfortunately. Sad, I know. There's no giant salmon, there's no baby salmon. There's just salmon. Off he goes. And there's a load of skeleton horses around here for some reason, because I think I must have AFK'd at some point, and then the 4 horsemen spawned in. So here's the storage down below where they drop down and go splat. Again, tons of hoppers for this farm, and oh, it looks like it's overflowing. Oh dear. So yeah, like I say, mob spawning in this game is kind of great, and as you can see from the chests here, this is just you know, this was, I think, after an average night of AFK in it. You know, you get so much stuff, and they're still coming down. Yeah, so yeah, farms in this version of the game, pretty awesome, if I do say so. So yeah, I think that's probably going to sort of wrap up this part of the video and the tour, because like I say, there's so much more to see in this world, and I'll save that for another time. Yeah, crazy farm. But yeah, so that's how I get all my gunpowder. Not a creeper farm, it's a witch farm. I did have a creeper farm, but it kind of stopped working because Mojang stopped cat scaring creepers for whatever reason, because reasons. So yeah, we're gonna finish this little tour here, because it has been going on a little while. Thank you for watching. If you've watched to this point, you know, I do really appreciate it. I just wanted to show you guys a little bit of sort of my nerdy nostalgia for Minecraft and where it all began, and this is where it kind of all began. So yeah, if you did enjoy the video, then, you know, be sure to subscribe, and I'll put out another part soon to this video. I'll show you some more stuff that I've done in this world. So yeah, take care guys, and bye for now.